Welcome to Picture Book Chat, where we feature a handful of new picture books each month and discuss what makes them great. Whether you're a parent, caregiver, or teacher, you're bound to find some wonderful reading suggestions from librarians Mary Ellen Bracks and Sheri Boggs.
Well, welcome to Picture Book Chat. I'm Mary Ellen Bracks. I'm the Public Services Manager for Early Learning. And with me today is Sheri Boggs. Hi, Sheri.
Hi, Mary Ellen.
So Sheri purchases all our books for our youth collection. So we're here today to talk about some fun new picture books.
So many good ones coming in.
Yes.
It's hard to pick.
It is. But we have a really fun one to start off with today. And it's called Watch Out for the Lion by Brooke Hartman. And it's a really fun story to read with the kids. Sheri, what did you think about it just right off the bat?
Oh, just when it first came in, I was like, this is the perfect storytime book.
Yeah.
Because it's interactive. Mm-hmm. You know, there's that kind of talking to the audience element. Mm-hmm. And kids love that. And then every turn of the page, you know, like it plays with your expectations. Like it keeps talking about how you're going to see this lion, and you turn the page and it's not a lion. Yeah. It's different kinds of animals.
Right.
So I think for kids, that's really engaging to look at the illustrations and try to guess, like, what could it be? Yeah. Once they realize guessing. What the thing is.
Yeah. So we had it's got some fun pictures in here. I love the first one. Do not go any further. I'm warning you, somewhere very close, there's a growling, prowling lion. And so here they go through all the parts of the lion. And then they show just the tail. And then it's like, well, what is that? And then giraffe. So in there you get that guessing element. Mm-hmm. And then they talk about, wow, that giraffe is really tall. You'd have to stand on your tiptoes just to reach its back. And so it goes on with different aspects from what they showed in the picture. So here's the claws. So whatever could this be?
This part's my favorite.
You touch them. That's it. You've done it now. Invoked in the wrath of a savage, salivating sloth? So I love the vocabulary in here, too.
Right.
It's a lot of fun here. And there's spots in here where the kids can scream along with you. And so I just think it would be a huge hit with the kiddos. So here's some twitchy ears. What do you think it could be? And it's a hamster. And I love, like, wow, well, this is embarrassing. You can just hear the tone as you're reading it. So, yeah, I really love that. The humor in it is really fun, too. So if you like books with a lot of humor to read to your kids, this would be great.
It's got some solid animal education in there, too. Like, I like how it talks about, you know, like, we're talking about all these characteristics of a lion. And then when you find out it's not, like, it'll talk about the characteristics of your sloth or your giraffe or your hamster.
Yeah.
So there's some education snuck in there.
Yes. So, and then I love the ending of it.
My gosh.
And it's actually a lion cub. And then that is actually quite adorable. I love that. So, yeah, and the colors in it. I just think the artwork in it is really engaging, the bright colors for the kids.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. Like with story time, you want people, you know, to be able to see it from across a room.
Yes.
And this book has that. Like there's a lot of white space. Everything's big and bold and bright.
Yeah.
Yeah, great fun. What ages do you think this would work for?
You know, I think older preschool, has a little bit more text to it.
Yeah.
I think if you've got preschoolers who just love to listen to stories, this will be a great one. If you've got some wiggly preschoolers, the animal pictures in here would keep their interest, but you could have them maybe move like that animal or make a sound like that animal to keep them engaged and participating. But I even see this with kindergarten and first graders too.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think this will be a favorite of many families and kiddos. So, yes, I love that. So, again, that's Watch Out for the Lion. And then we're going to put up the ISBN number up on the screen. So if you would like to scan that so you can find out where to get this book and check it out, it'll be there for you.
Perfect.
Our next one.
Oh, I'm so excited about this one. Okay, so this is Wild Blue. And this is a picture book about graduating to your first big bike.
Yes.
Very exciting. I think we can all remember that. And what I love about this little girl, you can kind of see a hint of it in the shadows. She's very imaginative, and she frames this whole experience as learning to tame a wild horse.
Yes,
which is
that.
It's amazing.
It's so fun.
I love the art in this. First off, it's super engaging. Again, a lot of white space. There's the subhead, Taming a Big Kid Bike.
Yeah.
And so it starts out, my pink pony and I ride the wide open spaces from sunrise to sunset until my daddy says, you've grown, Kayla, you're too big for that itty bitty bike. And I love that she calls it a pony.
Yes.
So they go to the bike store. She gets one that she names Wild Blue, and you can kind of see the trepidation on her face. Like, there's the excitement, but then there's also the anxiety of like, wow, that's a really big bike, and I'm going to have to stay on it. So I love how they make this kind of look like, over here it looks sort of like a Brooklyn street, and on this page, like it's a cactus and the sheriff, so it's kind of like the Old West. And they keep going with the metaphor of the Wild West. Daddy helps me saddle her up, then I take the reins. We're going places, I tell her. And this page is amazing. I love how it's a big spread. I love the boldness of the horse. There's some humor worked into here. So of course, like, it's all about getting back in the saddle, not giving up.
Perseverance.
Exactly, yeah. When we're talking about character traits, perseverance, this is a great one for that. And also some safety, like you see her wearing her helmet, like there's some education about, the best practices for riding a bike.
And Dad's really nice about how he encourages her too. I really like that relationship. And just how patient he is.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, and I like that the younger sibling gets to come along. Yeah, what did you think of this?
I loved it. I think the illustrations, too, are really engaging, and the color scheme, color story, I really like those bright colors that show up really well when you're reading a story to a group of kids. I think this would be great for the, older preschool, kindergarten, first grade, when they're just learning how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
I think this would be a great one for families to use if you've got a little one who's a little afraid of of putting that, getting on that big bike. So this would be a really good one.
Yeah.
I thought it dealt with the subject really nicely. And that would have been great. I would have loved that for my kids if there was a book on, somebody riding their first bike. Like, I can say, some of my kids took to it quicker than others. But, that's pretty.
Yeah, there's so much to it. There's the balancing.
Yeah.
There's, like, the height of it to get used to. And, no training wheels, no.
So, I thought it was a really fun one. It was a cute story. And, I just think referring to her bike as a pony, what a great metaphor. Yeah,
and I love, how she feels like she kind of conquers it, and she and her horse are great now. So it's just a great one. It's great to see her confidence build after, kind of a rocky start.
I mean, as a child, I would have ended this with like, well, I still want a horse, too.
I know, right? Seriously. I know this might plant some ideas of, like, horse-loving kids.
Yeah.
But also, like, about the ages, I was thinking, the ages you're talking about, is this when kids are first starting to understand metaphor? Like talking about one thing?
I would say probably you're getting up to that 5-6-year-old age.
Okay, yeah.
So right around the time they're starting to ride a bike, I think this works in about perfectly with that age group.
Good.
Of course, you'll get some who, just on a developmental scale, some who will get it pretty quickly, and others it might be a little bit later. But I think right around the time
what happened
you're just
to the horse?
To ride a bike. Although I will say some of the kids are riding two-wheelers earlier now than like when I was a kid.
Kids today.
I know, they're making them smaller. You see these little guys racing around on their bikes. So, no, I just think that would appeal to a lot of kids, a lot of families. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Well, this was Wild Blue. It's by Dashka Slater. We're going to show you the ISBN so you can look that up with your phone and put it on hold at our library.
Yes, great. Awesome. Another good one. Now, this next one, I know we've both loved. And so it's Beneath by Cori. I think you say it Doerrfeld?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is about a little boy, and the end papers are gorgeous here with the quilt. But this is about a little child and his granddad, the little boy isn't in a good mood. He didn't want to talk about it. Grandpa's trying to get him to talk. So he says, well, why don't we go for a walk? And so they go out and they go for a walk. And he's like, but that's fine, but I'm going to stay under my blanket. And I love that Grandpa says, don't worry, I'll remember to think of what's beneath. And so that's kind of the theme, what's beneath, as they're walking along. So it's great nature story where they're looking at what's above, but then you get to this and you can really see that they're looking at what's beneath here and what's growing deep below. And so it's just a metaphor, really. I mean, you know, for those feelings.
Yeah.
So Grandpa's trying to bring him out by taking him on this nature walk and looking around. So here they're thinking about the ocean, and then you see what's beneath there. And it was just a really sweet story about how he finally gets the little guy to talk to him. And so I just thought it was really well done. And the illustrations, of course, are gorgeous here. So, yes. What did you think, Sheri?
I loved this. And it's funny, as you're talking about the little boy, when I first read this, I thought it was a little girl. Oh, and then I was looking at it, and I think Finn is more of a boy's name, but I realized they were very careful not to use pronouns, so it could work for either. It could work
either way, I think, definitely.
Which I love. I love that this is a book that you could use regardless of gender, and kids can identify with the main character.
Right.
But yeah, I loved it. I especially love where you get to see what's going on underneath people. Like this page, I'll have you turn to the page with the parent and the hungry kid.
Yes.
Like I love you can see like they're having a tantrum, but you see that what's underneath is the fact that they're hungry.
Right.
And so the dad gets it and is offering an apple.
Yeah.
You know, I love that you have like an older person here, but they've got a medal around their neck. Which, and I don't know if that's supposed to be like under the sweater. I think it is. And it's like, you know, people think of older people as being frail, but like this one's, you know, a medalist, it looks like. And I love that these two, you know, have in common, like she's in a wheelchair, he's standing up, but they're both rocking out to, I love that they even have like a little Spotify, like image for the app on the iPhone there.
Yeah, this page especially, it says, everyone is more than what you see. Beneath appearances are experiences, and then beneath actions are explanations, and then beneath what's different is what's the same.
Yeah.
So there's a lot. And so I think this would appeal not only to the preschoolers, but early elementary, this would be really good for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that you pointed out, too, that we don't know if it's a little boy or a little girl.
Yeah.
I think because of the name, and we have a dog named Finn, I immediately assumed that. But no, that was a good thing to point out. So,
yeah, and I love anything that talks about nature as kind of a healing place.
Yeah.
Which this book really does. I love that they're taking the time to, you know, look around at the birds and,
everything,
you know, and to think about all the things that they can't see while they're also in this gorgeous place with plenty of things to see. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah. And I love at the end that they wanted to keep walking and keep looking around. And so, yeah, it was a nice way to kind of combine nature with feelings and talking about things. So I thought that was a really nice book. And I could see using this in a story time or using it in a childcare classroom or an elementary school classroom. But I think families would really enjoy it, too.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you've got a child going through some kind of grief situation. Like, this book is so gentle and understanding. It's not really heavy-handed at all.
No.
And I think it really normalizes that experience that we all, unfortunately, have had.
Right. And it ends with, "Don't worry. I'll remember to think of what's beneath."
Yeah.
Just, really sweet story, too.
Yeah. Yeah, and the colors are amazing. I love the black outlines of things. Because I'm thinking, like, with story time, like, with kind of soft twilight colors like this.
That can be hard to see from the back of the room. Yes.
Yeah, and so these bold outlines kind of make the characters pop, which I think is great. So, yeah, I love this one.
Great. Awesome.
We're ready for our last one.
I know.
One tiny tree frog. Okay, so right off, let's talk about these end papers. Probably from this distance, it looks like you're looking at peas, but what else could they be, Mary Ellen?
Maybe they're little eggs.
I think you're right. They could be tadpole eggs. So it starts out 10 tiny tadpoles grow in their eggs. And you can see, like, right down here, there's a little tree frog. You almost can't see him. He's identified with his scientific name. And I just love the scale of this. I love that you've got these tiny, tiny eggs on this humongous leaf that takes up the entire page.
Yeah.
9 alert tadpoles begin to wiggle free. And so you're just kind of like, 9, what happened to one of those? And you see they're starting to develop. They're getting their little eyes, their little tails are starting to unfurl.
And then you see another insect up here.
Yeah, keep your eye on that. I know you've got your snake down here, so there's kind of peril coming at the eggs from all directions. Oh, and then you get this. 8 wriggling tadpoles, and you see them fall into the water. And you see the wasp fly away. I think that's supposed to imply something.
Yeah. So I love that it's counting down, and I love how they put it in this storyline.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that it's got the motion of the book and these bright colors to, it's kind of like the color scheme changes a little bit to keep kids' interest.
Right.
Plink, plink, plink. So you've got some sounds as you're reading it aloud into a watery new home. And it, of course, introduces this fish, more danger. And they've started to develop. They're out of their eggs. Their tails are
swimming
out.
Around.
Yeah. 7 wary tadpoles learn to hide. So it's keeping that suspense up. There's an element of danger to the story.
Right.
And again, like, I just love the underwater scenery and, how things are kind of suggested by their shape. Like, this is almost abstract, but if you look at the fish on the previous page, you realize this is the tail end of it going away. 6 little tadpoles peek above the pool. And so it takes you from underwater to above the water. You've got your dragonflies. This one's called a carmine skimmer, which I love that you're getting to learn about these.
Yeah.
If you look really carefully, you can see our little tadpoles. Wait, there's only 5. Where's the other one?
Oh.
I love that you can't even really... Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Tricky.
And it's by itself, so that should give you a clue that's not, you stay with the crowd.
Right. A little natural selection going on. 5.
Oh, and they do that a lot. Look, there's 1 over here and then 4 over here.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that the first time.
Right, and you start to notice, like, this one is kind of still in this stage where there's no legs, and over here these guys have developed just a little bit faster, so they've got their little pollywog legs to kick. So great science book.
I think it's beautiful. And, when I first looked at it, I was thinking they were photographs, but because they're so brilliant, but really they're not photographs. So, yeah.
Yeah, just gorgeous illustrations. 4 strong tadpoles surface for a breath of air. So here you've just got your fish, I think. And here we're above the water again. And we've got some long legs, and it doesn't really tell you what it is, so you can kind of guess, is it a mammal? Is it a bird? We don't know. Yeah. I love their humongous eyes.
Yeah.
3 quick tadpoles jump.
And then you can see what it is. So there's a little guessing element in here, too.
Yeah.
So, the cycle of life on this one.
Yeah, I think it's handled really well. What ages would you use this with?
I think I would use it with preschool and up.
Yeah.
Especially that kindergarten, first grade, when they start talking about, because a lot of times I know in my kids' kindergarten class, they raised baby chicks.
Oh, fun.
And so, there's different things that I think they kind of do. I know they do bees, a unit on bees in like kindergarten and first grade. So,
oh, how fun.
So, that could be old information, but, they try to do something along those lines. But this was something that, as a kid, we would go down to the pond in Texas. Never a smart thing to be wading in a pond in Texas. But, and catch tadpoles and bring them home and see which would develop into frogs. That's interesting. So I can remember doing that. So
yeah, I remember teachers doing that, but I've never had that experience myself. So that's awesome that you've got that.
Yeah. Yeah, we did a lot of things we probably shouldn't have done when I lived in Texas in terms of being out where you're not supposed to go.
Learning about water moccasins.
Yes. Rattlesnakes, that type of thing. But I love how they do talk about the different animals, and they have the scientific name as well as the common name.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah. Should we show them how it ends?
Yeah.
All right. So we've got our 2. One resilient tadpole sees something familiar. You see this guy.
Yeah.
And did he get him? Let's see. I don't think so. There's his little legs. 0 tiny tadpoles. Oh, what happened? 1 tiny tree frog. So it talks about that, how it, like butterflies and other things that kind of go through metamorphosis. It's not the thing it was before. It's a completely new creature. That's the adult stage of it. So and I love in the back that it talks about everything. Like it does identify it on the page, but then it also kind of reviews it over here.
And it talks about what does it take to become one tiny red-eyed tree frog. It takes a whole lot of eggs. This was fun. I think your kid who's really into nature and science, and they even walk through the process of steps to surviving to become one tiny tree frog. They even have a picture of the life cycle there. Yeah. So I think this would be a nice one, especially for kindergarten, first grade classroom too.
Yeah.
And then they have some other suggested reading there too. So on the back of the book, I love how they kind of tease the book. Step into a dense lowland wet forest. Learn what it takes to survive the epic journey from egg to adult red-eyed tree frog. So I think your kids who are really into insects and amphibians will really enjoy this. So so once again, we'll flash the ISBN number up on the screen so that you can put a hold on it if it interests you. And that's our last book for today.
It is.
It's kind of a nice little nature theme going on this week.
I love how that works out.
Yes. So, thank you, Sheri.
Thank you, Mary Ellen.
Thank you all for watching another episode of Picture Book Chat. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.